It has been, as I'm sure you know, a year in which to celebrate the activists who called themselves suffragettes or suffragists and campaigned for years to win our right to vote. So what about the women of today? What are we likely to campaign for, and how willing are we to make a stand? Well, the ComRes poll carried out for Women's Hour suggests 3 in every 4 women are willing to take some form of action for a cause in which they believe. But in the past year, only 1 in 4 has done something. And then they're more likely to contribute to an online campaign than a protest, a march, or indeed flouting the law. Well, Harriet Mackenzie-Williams, who joins us from Sheffield, campaigns against fracking. Grace Campbell is one of the founders of the Pink protest. Mary Barton is an animal welfare and rights campaigner. And of course, they are all 3 here to discuss what drives them to activism and not to campaign for their particular cause. I just thought I'd pop that one in just to remind you all. Mary,
yes,
what actually inspires you to get out and do something?
I think I'm inspired by injustice and cruelty, whether in the world of humans or in the world of animals. And I particularly focus at the moment on the badger cull, which is my passion.
Harriet, what inspires you to actually get out and do something?
Morning. I think what initially inspired me was I'd heard about fracking, went off and did some research, didn't like it, but it was all quite a long way away. And then when we bought our house, it came up on the searches that there was a licence block over our house, and I think that's what initially pushed me to think I can't have this.
And Grace, what pushes you to activism?
I guess it's a desire to make change. Noticing I'm a feminist activist, so a lot of the work that I do is around women's issues. Experiences of mine, feeling the need that I actually need to just go out there and do something. If I have a problem, if I see a problem, there is something I can do about it. And I think that's what's, once you kind of get into the world of activism, you realise it's not as hard as it seems, and you can actually make progress, you can influence other people, you can open a conversation. So as soon as it started, it's then just become this very natural thing, and now I don't really think about it.
Might there be a genetic element here? I just have to mention, because you're Campbell, that you're Alistair Campbell's daughter, and your mum Fiona has always been
My mum's just won the Equal Civil Partnerships campaign. They've just won in
I
the
heard it
Supreme
on the
Court.
news, and
Yeah.
she's been pressing for that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, is it because the family has always encouraged you to do it?
Totally. I mean, yeah, it was kind of hard to avoid that. I think I grew up around people who wanted to make change. All we spoke about at home was kind of political stuff. But it was also then seeing how activated my generation, I'm 24 now, but when I started this was like a year ago, how activated we actually are and how we're using the tools of the internet for good. And it was, Scarlett and I founded the Pink Protest on that basis, that young people are really active, but we haven't got a bridge between kind of physical activism and then online activism, and we wanted to kind of put a face to that, which is why we started the Pink Protest.
So how does it actually work, Pink Protest? I will come to you two in a minute, but I just want to establish how Pink Protest works.
So it's kind of started quite organically. We started making a series of films, and then we met Amika George, who started the Free Periods campaign, and then we worked with her, and that was when we said, so the Pink Protest is an umbrella organisation for various female campaigns. Then we help other campaigns, like we work with Sad Girls Club in America, which is a group for women of colour to talk about their mental health. We work with Help Refugees. We've started our own campaign, #GirlsWank2. I've got to say it 'cause I'm on the beep. And yeah, we help other campaigns where we see fit and where we think we can offer points of expertise. And then also we try and start and mobilise our own campaigns. And it's kind of very much opening up conversations. We organise monthly events where we get loads of young women and men to come together and talk about things. It's bridging the gap between the online and the physical, basically.
Now, Mary, our poll showed that influencing politicians is more of a motivation for older people. And I know influencing politicians is something you try to do. What do you do every Thursday?
Every Thursday I stand outside DEFRA dressed as a badger. It gets quite hot this time of year. My name is Betty Badger. She has a blog, Betty Badger Blogspot. And I'm doing that because actually I'm getting perhaps a little bit old now for being out in the wild, standing in front of the guns, which is what some of my friends have done. People who are shooting badgers, shooting wildlife, chasing foxes. So I think there are lots of different ways of being active. Everything from writing to newspapers, doing polls on the internet, and simply being there. I'm doing a vigil. I'm trying to make people say, Mary or Betty, why are you doing this? People ask the question. And I am having an influence because last year, DEFRA sent a missive round to all its staff saying, do not engage with the badger. So I'm being noticed. I think it's quite amusing and it's light-hearted. But
Michael Gove says hello to you every time.
He always says hello. He's an incredibly polite man. He's always charming. Hello, Betty. And but actually he's not changing a policy, which is appallingly cruel and unscientific.
Oh, well, yes, but you see, DEFRA don't say that.
I bet they don't.
Bovine TB is a slow-moving, insidious disease which presents many challenges. There is no single measure that will provide an easy answer, and that's why we're pursuing a wide range of interventions, including strengthening cattle testing and movement controls, improving biosecurity on farms and when trading, and a cull of badgers where they're linked with herd breakdowns. I had to say that.
You have to say that, and they say the same thing every time. And if I can say, the latest two outbreaks of bovine TB have been in Derbyshire and in Carlisle, and they're not caused by badgers because badgers don't suddenly get TB out of the sky. They are caused by cattle movements from infected areas such as Ireland and the West Country.
Right, you're starting to campaign now.
Yeah, I am.
Stop
I am.
Stop it.
It's important.
Harriet, what form of campaigning do you do?
Oh, all sorts. It started off with, saving, finding money, printing leaflets, trying to get local people to understand what was happening, raising awareness. And then a camp set up down the road, which we went along to see what was going on. Got to meet lots of people who were very good at activism and knew what they were doing, understood what the risks were. So they taught us a lot. So it can be standing at gates, waving banners, slowing down lorries, right to chaining yourself to a piece of concrete where you have to be cut out. So all sorts.
And how prepared might you be to break the law for what you're concerned about? Because in your case, it is a sort of personal thing, isn't it, if house prices are affected?
Oh, it's very personal. And in fact, my daughter bought a house in Rotherham a year after we bought ours, and hers had a licence block on it as well. So it seems that wherever we go, they're after us. It is very personal. Yes, I am willing to break the law, and I have done, yeah.
And of course, I have to tell you what the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy told us. British shale gas has the potential to help lower bills and increase the security of the UK's energy supply while creating high-quality jobs in a cutting-edge sector. This summer, they will ensure exploration happens in the most environmentally responsible way while making it easier for companies and local communities to work together. I wonder, Grace, how useful is online campaigning, really, or signing petitions? Because it doesn't really require much effort, does it?
No, but I mean, if you look at the Equal Civil Partnerships campaign, most of that has lived online, and they've just won. The Free Periods campaign, that started as an online petition, but then we organised a physical protest in December. I think online petitions are a great way to start a campaign, for sure. It's a great way to get noticed. If anything, it's good PR, because when those campaigns kind of spread like wildfire, the more people that see them, the more people that know about the issue. But then you kind of have to follow that through with a bit of a strategy. How can I bring this to Parliament? How can I get actual change makers to follow this through, basically? And then that's the kind of bigger part of the game, I think. So it's a great way to start, but it's not the whole campaign.
Mary, what do your family and friends make of what you do? I mean, when I came to meet all the guests this morning, you did have your badger head on.
I did.
And you had a chair which was occupied by lots of little badgers, not
Yes.
real ones, obviously, toy ones, of varying sizes. Your family must think you're completely obsessed.
I think most of my friends and family support what I'm doing because they are, I think in a way I have shown people that ordinary people, working class background, can make a difference. I am by nature an activist. If I'm in a supermarket and there are no checkout staff, I say, please bring some more checkout staff. You know, if there's a traffic jam in the high street because nobody wants to move back or forward, I get out of my car and say, please move. You know, it is in my nature.
But where does that come from? I mean, I asked Grace about whether it's genetics, you know, what had happened in her background. What's happened in your background?
Nothing I can identify. I have got a few uncles who are entrepreneurs, and I think maybe there's a bit of entrepreneurial skill there, or maybe it's just I have an excessive passion for injustice, for fighting injustice.
How, Harriet, do you find the time and the energy for it? Because it was clear from our poll that a lot of women thought, yes, I can do an online campaign and that sort of thing, but actually, you know, having to commit time to going out and marching or whatever is really difficult.
It is really difficult. I own and run my own business, which is easily 40 hours a week work. Last year I was very, very active, and I was working in the middle of the night to catch up. It was exhausting. I mean, it is really hard work. I would sometimes cry myself to sleep with exhaustion.
What would be the consequences if you were sent to prison for activities?
Right, firstly, I wouldn't put myself in a position where I would be arrested for anything that held any kind of sentence like that. I am very aware of what I'm doing, and I take a lot of time making sure that I research what I'm doing. I know things happen, and there are people who've been arrested for things that they certainly didn't go out to intend to do. But if anything like that happened, my business would be shut down, and all the people that work for me would be without the ability to work. That is not a position I'm willing to put myself in.
Mary, how long can you go on with Betty Badger?
I ask myself that every Thursday when I go, and I think I am exhausted. But actually it matters. It matters that 70,000 badgers have been killed in the last 5 years for no good reason. I have to do it.
Some would say there is a good reason. I have to say that.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. No, I will go on as long as it is necessary. And in this heat, the chances are I will probably get heat stroke. And then it'll be on the front pages, and then we'll make a difference.
Mary Barton, Harriet Mackenzie Williams and Grace Campbell, thank you all very much indeed for being with us.